Today we have some breaking news. Coinbase granted permission to offer Bitcoin futures in the US. And at first glance, you're like, this is not a big deal. But if you dig deeper, you'll realize this is actually a big deal. Here's why. A lot of you guys, first of all, have gotten used to using exchange overseas outside of US that offers leverage, right? And sometimes the leverage is crazy. Goes up to 125x leverage. How do these exchanges offer leverage? Using futures, okay? So this will allow Coinbase, first of all, to become the very first US-based exchange to offer derivatives and offer leverage. You know why? Because there are Bitcoin futures that are now 2x. Pretty soon, there may be a 3x. And pretty soon, there may be a 5x. And Ethereum ETFs are also coming. So one of the major things is that Coinbase will be allowed to offer leverage in the US by using futures, right? So that's number one. That's actually pretty big. Not to say that futures or leverage is a good thing, but there are many traders that love it. They require it to make their daily gains, right? So that's number one. And I think that really gives Coinbase a leg up on everyone else in the United States. And number two is that this was granted by the CFTC. CFTC is the governing body or agency that controls commodities, right? So that's why futures is considered like a commodities trading, not security trading. So that's why they allow this. So they approve this, and basically they're doing this to I don't know, not only to give Coinbase permission, but giving a big middle finger to the SEC. Because the SEC is still trying to contend, I don't know, the SEC is still trying to throw their weight around, basically saying everything is security, right? Including Ethereum. Even though they don't flat out come out and say, we're going to sue Ethereum, they have hinted many times that Ethereum itself is security. But by doing this, basically, CFTC is like, I don't care about you, Gary. We think that Bitcoin and Ethereum are commodities, right? And we're just going to treat them as commodities. So this basically takes power away from Gary. By allowing Ethereum futures and just allowing Ethereum in general to be controlled by CFTC is basically saying it's 100% a commodity. So this whole notion that it's a security and all this stuff goes out the window. So that's also pretty important as well. So basically, this is pretty big on a couple fronts. It's going to give Coinbase a huge advantage in the US, okay? And who knows? They may even offer their own that's publicly traded. I don't think so. I think everything they're going to offer is going to be within exchange, but maybe later on in the bull market they can have their own, futures ETFs too. I don't know. There's a lot of things that could come from this, but number one is Coinbase gets a huge leg up versus all the other exchanges in the US. And number two is this sets a little bit more clarity for us and another big middle finger to Gary Gensler. Despite the fact that Bitcoin, right, and the entire market has not done so well in August, here's the thing. People are not looking at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is ever since July, right, and the start of August, S&P 500 and NASDAQ has been sliding down big time. This last month, okay, we're halfway through, but we're getting closer to that in a month. So far this month has been pretty darn horrible for an entire market, right? I'm talking about the US market, right? And Bitcoin is actually still up by 1% within this month. So if you think about it, Bitcoin is actually doing pretty good. A lot of people will say, well, Bitcoin has not moved. It's so boring, so sideways. Well, if you compare it to the alternative, if you have money in stocks, you would have noticed that they have gone down way more than 3.3%. That's just the average. But, even like Coinbase stock or, Microsoft stock, whatever, these big tech stocks, they're all down majorly, more than double digits so far, right? So actually Bitcoin is holding up really, really well. Same thing with Ethereum, really, really well. So sometimes boring or sideways movement is actually a good thing. Okay? We take it for granted sometimes, but it's actually a pretty good thing versus everything else, right? So keep that in mind. But, we know Bitcoin is going to go higher. Hash ribbons, which is another signal, basically this shows whether or not hash ribbons, I believe, is miner profitability, something to do with miners. But anyways, it's flashing by. And look at the last few times the hash ribbon flashed by for Bitcoin, right? Golden opportunity to be picking up during those times. And it's the same thing right now. Every time the signal flashes by, it goes up significantly, right? So, pretty good. We got this triangular bottom. Again, every time, right? Bitcoin kind of goes lower and then gets back to a previous point. It can't break multiple times, right? It has this bottom inverse triangle. And then what happens? Boom. We break upwards, right? Last 2 times, 3 times this happened. We broke upwards. It's going to be no different this time around. Just got to be patient, right? And lastly, the most important metric of them all, number of people that hold over 1 Bitcoin, the whole coiners of the world, is above 1 million and continues to go above and have reached an all-time high. This metric just keeps on going up and up and up and up. People believe in Bitcoin. More and more are buying. Supply is diminishing, right? And eventually the price catches up. It's really that simple. You can see right now everything is in a red. People are waiting, okay, for this nasty Fed minutes. It's actually not nasty at all, but I'm just saying, whenever there's a Fed minutes that is set to release, the market somehow stalls or turns a little red because they're afraid that the FOMC meeting that we had not too long ago last month, behind closed doors, there were more said, right? That's what people are afraid of. For example, people are looking for whether or not Powell and his buddies are hinting at another rate hike that's coming up next month, right? So that's what people are waiting for. So this has the market kind of stalled today. But also something else that is kind of spooking the market is this. Target, which is one of the biggest retailers that we have in the U.S., slashes a full year forecast as retailer struggles to win over thrifty shoppers. What does this mean? Well, that just means that people are not shopping nearly as much as before. That's it. People are, being more frugal and just saving and staying at home and not shopping at Target nearly as much as before, right? So that's all that really means, but this is also scaring people a little bit because there are still some people that think that the U.S. will go into deep recession and the economy is going to become much worse. I mean, there are a group of people that think that, but you know what? I think it's a bit premature to make that assessment right now.